Hello, my name is Mackie, and welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 Days. Today, we got Super Bowl 22. It is January 31st, 1988, at the Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California. The stadium, Jack Murphy, is named after the sports writer Jack Murphy, who is pretty much a beat writer for San Diego. The statue and his dog, by the way, are still present to this day. No, he passed away a couple of years ago, by the way, is still being etched up in the newly formed Snapdragon Stadium after the whole stadium tore down. It was, of course, called the San Diego Credit Union Stadium, of course, a couple of years back. So a little stadium history, of course, to talk about. But let's talk about the other part of history. Washington Commanders, not the R word, facing off against Denver Broncos. And yes, Denver Broncos are back in again after giving the Browns some absolute pain. Then again, it's the Browns, so I think they inflict pain themselves. In case everybody don't know, I did not even add the AFC Championship nor the NFC Championship. It's because I realized that'll be a waste of time, and it'll be like 15 minutes of me speaking about it. And let's be honest, nobody has 15 minutes to do anything these days, especially in the short-form content that is YouTube, to be honest. So I'm going to give you a little snippet of what happened to Denver's two Super Bowls, or been the two Super Bowls. The drive and the fumble. John Elway drove down all the way up the field to tie the game, and then, of course, kicked the winning field goal. And then the Browns had the opportunity to score and go to the Super Bowl themselves, but unfortunately fumbled the ball away. So, yes, Denver won those games, but it's the Browns being the Browns. So there's that. Anyways, Denver going to another Super Bowl, but even then, I just don't see them even winning the Super Bowl. Because history was made on this fabled day in January. And why I said this is the most historic, I'll tell you why in a couple of minutes. For now, 42-10, Washington Commanders win their second Super Bowl in history, and is all in the back of MVP Mr. Doug Williams. 18 for 29, 340 yards, 4 touchdowns and an interception. 4 touchdowns and an interception. That is amazing. That is amazing. John Elway, 14 and 38, 257 yards, touchdown, and 3 picks. Not going to get it done, man. Not going to get it done. For the Russian, Timmy Smith, 22 of 204 yards, Russian, 9.27 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, my God, Timmy Smith. And by the way, Timmy Smith did not have a great career beyond that. He was your Linsanity for this game, like your one-hit wonder in mostly 80s and 90s songs, and mostly 2000s, of course. Timmy Smith was your one-hit wonder for this Super Bowl. 22 rushes for 204 yards? Are you kidding me? I bet I don't think he ever got like more than that in his entire career. At 9.27 a pop and 2 touchdowns. That's amazing. And we're going to see like more one-hit wonders or more Linsanity performances from every other Super Bowl. I think there were a few more Linsanity Super Bowls, of course, but this one can pretty much top the cake. Like, how did Timmy Smith manage to get 204 yards and 2 touchdowns? Even in 1988 is mind-boggling. Kelvin Bryant, 8 rushes for 38 yards and 4.75 pop. Then you got the Denver rushes with 5 for 38 from Gene Lang, 7.6 a pop. John Elway with 3 rushes of 32 yards and 10.67 a pop. And Sammy Winder from Denver with 8 rushes for 30 yards and 3.75 a pop. For the receivers, Ricky Sanders, 9 catches for 193 yards, 21.44 yards per reception, and 2 TDs. Gary Clark also was in the touchdowns with 3 catches, 55 yards, and 18.33 a pop, and a touchdown. For Denver, Mark Jackson, 4 catches for 76 yards and 19 a pop. Ricky Natel, 2 catches for a nice 69 yards and 34.5 yards a pop for a touchdown. And Steve Sewell with 4 catches, 41 yards and 10.25 a pop. So 1 touchdown by Ricky Natel, and that's it. Yeah, this game was actually cooked. Because the defense for Washington was so good. So good. Barry Wilbon, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles. Brian Davis, interception. Alvin Walton, 2 sacks and 3 tackles. Dexter Manley, 1.5 sack. Charles Mann, a sack. Monty Coleman, half a sack and a tackle. Dave Butts, 2 tackles. Todd Boyles. Yes, I'm quoting this on December 21st. going to be out on December 30th. But as it stands, Todd Bowles is still the Tampa Bay head coach. And I swear to God, if Tampa Bay does not win the division title, he out of here. But for now, we'll talk about player Todd Bowles, who made a tackle in that Super Bowl. Player Todd Bowles. And even Ryven Caldwell got a fumble recovery. So Washington's defense just absolutely was all over Denver this entire day. We all know about the offense and all kinds of stuff, and we'll get to that later, but the defense was absolutely staggering. And I'm gonna do a little box score, of course, to tell you how it's dominant. This is Denver's 10 points. This is Denver's entire points for the entire game. They scored 10 points in the first quarter and did nothing for the rest of the game. Nothing. 10 points in the first quarter and nothing in this game. Look at Washington in the second quarter. All 35 points were in the second quarter. The game was a wrap. The game was kind of like, oh, Denver in the lead. They're doing well to like over when in the second quarter. When in halftime, to be honest. They had another touchdown to measure it, but 5 touchdowns in the very second quarter. And 5 of them were in the second quarter. Like, look at this. Doug Williams, 80-yard pass by Ricky Sanders. Doug Williams, 27-yard pass to Brian Clark. Doug Williams, 50-yard pass to Ricky Sanders. Doug Williams pass to Clint Dindler for 8 yards. It was brutal. Absolute brutal. And the defense just like let it over. And John Wall did not do absolutely nothing against that. Nothing. So yeah, that was how the Super Bowl was dominated. It was dominated by great offense and incredible defense. Of course, Denver chipping some defense, of course. Jeremiah Castell, interception with a tackle. Carl Mecklenburg and Roland Jones with a sack. Mecklenburg with 4 tackles. Bruce Carlos, the man with a forced fumble, and Jim Ryan with 3 tackles. The special teams, Ala Haji Shekai. I'm botching Arabian names. I apologize. Ala Haji Shekai, 6 for 6 PATs and a 0 for 1 field goals. He didn't even get a field goal in. Like, that was the only flaw in that entire game. And Rich Carlis with 1 for 1 PAT and 1 for 2 field goals. Now, the total yards for Washington, 602 for 327. 602 yards for Washington. Ridiculous. Even I'm typing like this and I just say, what the hell with those yards? What? And the turnovers, Washington 1 for Denver's 3. So, the 3 interceptions by John Elway pretty much sealed the whole deal. But I'm asking you, but here's a question. Why was this Super Bowl matters? And why was the Super Bowl is important? This guy. This guy is the reason why the Super Bowl is important. And let me just tell you something right now. I'm a black person. I am talking to you as a black person, talking about football like every other black person in America with the late Stuart Scott and Randy Moss and Clinton Yates and RG3 talking about football. The same way as all black personalities and all kinds of stuff play football and watch it and talk about it. So it's incredible and it's blessed. But remember, some of these players, like RG3 and Randy Moss, never got an opportunity. And not saying because of like, you know, stigma and all kinds of stuff. It's 1988 and we're still dealing with all of these things even today. Even today, we're still dealing with all of these things. With the racism and discrimination and all kinds of stuff. We're still dealing with this today. And Doug Williams came into the Super Bowl with so much pressure on his shoulders. So many viewers and the eyes of the world viewing him. And this is 1988 with color TV and being viewed with millions of people across the world. Millions. It was broadcast in like so many different languages in Japan, in Russia, in Britain, and all kinds of stuff on Channel 4. So he has literally the eyes of the world descended on him. And he's a black quarterback, which, let's be honest, black quarterbacks never even got a fair shake in the NFL, to be honest. Like, this guy was coming from the worst Tampa Bay team in existence with the for like millions of losses, of course. So kind of traded in, come to Washington, of course, and he was decently well. But the question is, can he manage to win a big game? But not only that, put the entire stigma to bed, put the entire thing of like, black quarterbacks cannot do this, black quarterbacks cannot do that, and all kinds of stuff. And he flipping did. He did. And because of him, because of this performance, Jalen Hurts is still there. Patrick Mahomes is still there. Lamar Jackson is still there. Because everybody was, when Lamar Jackson got drafted a couple of years ago, many people wanted him to be in wide receiver. Like, what? Wide receiver? For a guy who balled out in Louisville, for God's sakes? Nah, nah. And we saw how he performed, of course. One MVP. And yes, I know he hasn't gone to the Super Bowl and haven't performed well in playoff games, and that's fine. You know, you can have your cake and eat it too, but it's because of him. We never got, the Randy Cunninghams of the world. We never got the Michael Vicks of the world. The Dante Culpepper. No, well, Dante Culpepper. Yeah, we never have those kind of people in these worlds. And it's because of Doug Williams' incredible performance is that every black athlete and every black quarterback just use the Super Bowl as a way to break down the barriers, to break down walls, to say that anybody, no matter what skin color, had the talent, the skill, and the poise, the emphasis on poise, guys, to do what Doug Williams did in a Super Bowl. And if you wanted to watch elite performance by a guy of color, this is the performance for you. And I believe the Super Bowl is so much important for me. And I know this is not a great game. God damn it, it's not a great game. I mentioned it was a blowout after the second quarter. But for Doug Williams and for so many black Americans and so many black people, watching Doug Williams perform in that Super Bowl opened so many doors to so many quarterbacks who went on to have great success and great talent beyond that. So while the Super Bowl may not be important in the smaller scale, of course, in the Commanders winning another Super Bowl and Denver losing another one and, all that jazz, Doug Williams' performance was the most important thing about the Super Bowl. And the most important thing. And while we're still having all of this discussion in 2025, and by the way, I'm recording it beyond years, of course, 2026 and beyond, Doug Williams' performance in the Super Bowl has opened up so many doors and breaks so many barriers and put the stigma to bed that black quarterbacks can't compete with, the rest. They can compete. They can ball out. And they can do performances like we saw in Super Bowl 22. So thank you all for watching this the most important Super Bowl for me personally and for Doug Williams. And if he's watching this right now, brother, thank you for what you have done for football and all kinds of stuff. I know you've gone through so much hatred and so much things, even in the 80s, of course, but thank you for bringing the eyes of the world to you. Thank you for opening up my eyes, and thank you for opening up so many eyes to so many young black quarterbacks everywhere, here and around the world, of course. So thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and Super Bowl 23 will coming up tomorrow. And yes, this is probably the longest I ever done with a Super Bowl, of course, but it's the most important one. So yeah, probably gonna be more of those coming up, but for now, enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you all next time.